Rebecca, we've got you there.
Yes.
I
Hello.
think g'day, and we've got David who's actually phoned in. He hasn't actually been able to get onto Teams due to his internet connection, so I'll just double check. You are there, are you, David? Yeah, good mate. Thanks for both of you for sitting here on a Sunday for this meeting. Obviously due to COVID, catching up this way and everyone being on skeleton staff at the moment too, being first thing in the new year. So appreciate you both taking the time out so that we can get this one done. So I will just organise to share my screen here with you both. Bear with me one moment. Okay. Okay. All right. How's that look from your end?
Yep, really good.
Yep. Perfect. Okay, no worries. So, as I discussed in the email that I shot out to both of you, the reason for this presentation is to discuss cross-cultural communication within ATF. So it's something we've been looking at working on for a little while now. So we're going to find out, obviously, first of all, what it is. The purpose of today's presentation is obviously looking to improve what we're already doing at ATF, how we communicate with people with diverse backgrounds, the different learning styles, protocols around that, and what we've got in place through our head offices, negotiation strategies, benefits in effectively using that communication as well. And then just a recap at the end where you'll have an opportunity to have any questions answered as well, and we can discuss what we'd like to implement moving forward as well. So first of all, what is cross-cultural communication? So it is the understanding of communication methods from different cultural backgrounds and how we endeavour to communicate effectively across cultures. So as you all know, within our national company, not so much our direct branch in Dandenong. We obviously have a little bit of cultural diversification, but nationally we have quite a large, diverse range of individuals working for us. So I know, Rebecca, you would have dealt a lot more with the IT guys and our team up there, so you'd probably have a bit more knowledge and understanding around that more than David. Yes. So the purpose, again, of this meeting is basically to look at how we can improve the cross-cultural communication in our workplace. How we want to do that is through development, improvements, implementation of what we come up with today, and obviously ongoing revision and training. So I think that's a really big key part of revising this regularly, making sure we stay on top of things, and continuing to evolve as things change within our company as well. So what we need to understand to communicate effectively. So obviously there's many ways to communicate, but if it's not done effectively, then the point of that sort of drops off and we lose basically all this time and effort that we're putting into training, into learning, and if it's not done effectively, then essentially it's wasted time, which isn't beneficial for the company. So different communication and learning styles we'll go through, the differing attitudes towards conflict, differing approaches to completing tasks, the different decision-making styles that we all have, and different attitudes towards disclosure as well. So here's my fancy little picture, gives you a bit of an indication on how people can see different cultures and communication methods completely different. Okay, so there are the 4 different communication styles. So you'd probably be aware you have your visual, your auditory, your kinesthetic, and your thinking styles. So everyone's different. Everyone has their different styles. Some cross between different ones, but usually everyone has that main way that they prefer to learn and that they're most effectively going to take on information. So first of all, the visual learners. So this makes up 65% of the population. So people that want to see what's actually going on. So they learn from pictures, images, flowcharts, and symbols, and most importantly, watching other people. So taking on how they're doing things and then replicating them. So making sure that they can actually see what's going on, and that's how they learn. So this is a big one, with making sure, obviously, when we're doing our training, when we're doing our revisions and everything, that people can see what's happening. We're not just giving them paperwork, letting them go on their own way and basically having to read through it themselves. The second one is auditory. So people that learn through verbal instructions, audio cues, and even read alouds. So you would have found with some of our systems, we've done the video training sessions that not only have the visual side to it, but the auditory, so that we're explaining what we're doing at the same time and giving the people that learn this way the best, obviously, communication method for them. So the third one is basically your kinesthetic learners. So people that want to get in there hands-on, they can see how it's done, they've heard how it can be done, but they really need to get in there. Sorry, I've skipped forward one. Get in there, get their hands on things and figure out how to do that physically. So this is a big one. I find I'm a big learner in this aspect. So again, trying to put as many of these communication styles in place in all areas and aspects of our company, so that we can get the best outcome for everyone across all different cultures and backgrounds as well. The last one is the written or the reading and writing learning style. So where people really find that text is important to them. They like reading and understanding about how to do things, rather than being shown how to do it. They like to really read and have it all written down for them. So that comes in the way of text, books, note taking, signs, things like that. Communication protocols. So understanding. The biggest thing that we need to understand is the most important step in the effective communication with a diverse range of people is to understand their cultural background. So basically, unless we understand their beliefs, their expectations, and how they've done things previously and what they're accustomed to, it makes it really hard for us moving forward to be able to teach them in a way that they're going to understand what we expect, what we want them to do within the business. So communication between different groups can vary dramatically. The key to communication is the successful understanding of those differences to avoid offending and causing confusion. So we have had issues arise, like I'm sure most workplaces have, where people feel offended or there is confusion just because of that different understanding. So where that's been from cultural differences, it's like hand gestures, movements, things like that, which can be taken offensively in other cultures, which, because we don't have that understanding of their background, it can cause those issues. And I'm sure HR, Rebecca, you would have seen this firsthand quite a bit over your time as well.
Yes, and especially during COVID, with all the passive-aggressive emails that seem to unfortunately occur, or people take offence when things haven't been meant. So yes, COVID's made it very different as well.
Definitely, yes, I can imagine. Okay, so your own specific communication style. So basically understanding how your own culture influences your upbringing, all those sort of things. Basically how you communicate with other people and how that can be interpreted from other people as well. So you might be a very overpowering verbal person. Some people might find that intimidating. You need to work out how you communicate, how other people see that from their side as well. So when you're aware of your influences, you're more capable of adjusting your communication style to suit. And that works, that comes back a lot to the emotional intelligence and things like that I've spoken about with both of you over the last couple of months. So it does help in different situations and with different audiences to be able to understand how you're impacting people around you as well. So yeah, being able to do that. And I know we've discussed that we want to do more in regards to the emotional intelligence so that we understand from our own personal point of view what we're doing and how that affects others around us. So there you go. I've got ahead of myself. Yeah. So simple and effective communication. So rather than making things difficult, I suppose keeping it simple. So the effective form of communication, presenting clear and concise information. So rather than beating around the bush, venturing off into other topics and different things that may be irrelevant, it really comes back to making sure what we're presenting to someone is down the straight and narrow, basically. So we're giving the information they need, none of the stuff that they don't, so that that path is a lot clearer for them to understand. To keep a diverse group focused, especially in one setting, is by presenting the information simple and straightforward manner, but also utilising those 4 different styles. So the auditory, the hands-on, the visual, the written. If all aspects are there, it does allow for everyone that learns in a different way to obviously have the best chance of coming out of that with a clear understanding of the information that we're giving them. So yeah, as that last note there says, so if we start using jargon, slang, we throw in a bit of humour to try to lighten the mood, these sort of things can be misconstrued, confuse people, offend them, even upset them. So if we can remove those sort of things, especially when we're going through our processes and procedures, we really need to try to get rid of all the extra stuff, keep it simple, keep it clear for everyone for learning purposes. So respect. Respect is a big one, especially across different cultures. But as it says here, the cultures, races, sexuality, genders, differing lives. People do things differently that might not be the way that you understand. It might not sit well with you, but people have their own way of seeing things. And this is what we need to understand from a holistic point, that basically not one way is correct. People have their differing opinions, and we need to have the respect for other people to have those opinions as well. So as I said there, people wear different clothes, they eat different foods, speak differently, do different things in their leisure time. Each person needs to be respectful of what they do, just as they need to be respectful of what you do yourself. And this comes back to that team building, where if we have respect for our fellow workers, we're going to gel more as an individual, as one collective, rather than working as individuals on our own little things. So obviously going to benefit the company in the end that way. So yeah, so by communicating effectively and respecting their choices, you can avoid unnecessary conflict, which again, coming back to you, Rebecca, HR perspective, it's those unnecessary conflicts that take away time from the business. It builds rift between our staff members as well, and this can cause larger ongoing effects throughout our workforce and create larger issues down the track. So the respecting something simple, but it does have a very big effect on a business in the back end. So so understanding. So first and most important step in that communication, again, reverting back, is to understand the cultural background and their expectations and their beliefs. If we know a bit more about our workforce and our team, it allows us to have that understanding, so that when it comes to the respecting their the differences, if we understand what they do and how they do it, this makes it a lot easier. It takes the sting out of it if we already know before certain situations arise, and that way it's easier to deal with the situation when it comes to a head. So yeah, again, avoid trying to offend, causing confusion, clear, concise information that needs to be portrayed throughout the workforce there. Being open-minded. So I know a lot of these things sort of tie in with one another, but again, people do things differently. It's not up to us to judge. I like playing sports, fishing, things like that. Might not be other people's cup of tea, but at the end of the day, I don't feel that it needs to be something that people have an opinion on. They might not enjoy it, they might not like it, but at the end of the day, that's what they enjoy. We move on with things, we respect what they do, and we go from there. So if you're able to be receptive to concerns and available to assist employees through confusion and concerns, this leads to effective communication. So this way, instead of being stubborn and headstrong, having your own opinion and really driving that, if we are open-minded and we can see things from other people's point of view sometimes, even if we might not think that it's worth it, this is where we can really bring in outside opinions, really put different ideas on the table. And this in turn, especially being in an industry that we are with security, with IT, infrastructure, things like that, the more ideas we can have and be open-minded to can really help us increase basically our repertoire of cameras, of our units, of our softwares, things like that. So again, keeping open-minded and never shutting out ideas and causing those rifts as well. Non-verbal communication. So this is something we learned from a young age. So what your body language is saying to another person. So it's nice and easy to work out that you can be saying something to someone, but if your body tells a different story, it's pretty obvious. And as they say, the non-verbal communication usually outweighs the verbal communication styles. So facial expressions that can be received in different ways, especially in these different cultures, can be very offensive. Some cultures, touching the head of someone else can be very degrading. So just little things, and if we're not aware of those and we accidentally do them, again, causes those internal issues within the company, can create loss of income, turnover of staff, new training. Again, these simple little things, if we have that bit more understanding about our workforce and the diversity, this can really help us if we've got our finger on the pulse and we're all aware of each other's differences. We can obviously try to eliminate that as much as we can from our workforce. So as you can see, yeah, all the way from paralinguistics and the way we talk and the volume and things like that. So yeah, pretty simple one there. So negotiation. So basically how we work through these differences. So understanding others' backgrounds and preparing. So the more you know about your colleagues, the easier it becomes to effectively communicate in a way that is easily understood by the other parties. So prepare for discussion and understanding. So basically, the more you know about your colleagues, the more you can try to find out from them too. You can create those conversations. It's then it's more relaxed environment. And again, the more you know, the easier it is to be able to have those conversations with them, and we can work more as in a team environment that way. So understanding the other person's perception. So this again goes back a couple of slides ago, that by understanding someone else's perception, you're able to adjust your communication styles and be concise and clearing up the misunderstandings or communications. So basically taking that time, having the respect, letting them talk, being open-minded. So again, it comes from those other slides, and having the time to understand everyone's point of views. So favourably altering others' perceptions or outcomes. So this one can be taken a few ways. People usually like trying to get their own way, but it's not about doing it in a forceful or a pushy manner. The ways to with the other persons, they're always going to be more inclined to concentrate on what you're discussing with them or what your ideas are if they perceive or see it favourably for themselves. So the way we might portray something, you might be able to change it in a way or have someone else be involved in a new product, or it might be a new way of doing things if they see a benefit for themselves. So it can be about changing how we put things forward to them, how we portray it, how we put it on the table. So if there's a way of getting them involved, making them feel like they've got more to do with the project, then that's a way that you can favourably alter perceptions and outcomes of situations. Utilising communication and learning styles. So again, our 4 styles come back into play. You're going to place yourself in the best possible position of communicating with your team and being successful with getting the outcome you want if you're able to portray positive information in all 4 ways where they can understand it. If there's no level of understanding, there's going to be more questions. There's going to be people that if they don't understand, they shy away from it. So it's a pretty simple situation where if it's something that you're not used to, something that's new, it's always easier to not be involved. So this way, if you give as much information, clear and concise in those 4 styles or methods, you're going to give yourself the best opportunity of getting the outcome that we need. So yes, that utilising those communication styles we spoke about earlier. So that's majority of the information. Hopefully it was clear enough and you were able to understand. But in regards to improving our cross-cultural communication and diversity, I'd like to discuss what we might be able to come up with as a group in regards to how we can improve what we're currently doing. So in regards to our training, our development of our staff and the ongoing terms of that. So if you have any questions there, yeah, open to discussion.
Well, Scott, probably just hot topic at the moment is COVID.
Yes.
So have you thought about ways we can improve communication and even new learning with COVID?
Definitely. No, excellent question. So basically at the beginning of COVID last year, myself and Greg, we sat down, we actually did a lot of training videos. So as you know, we brought on a lot of new staff throughout the COVID closure period. Was quite difficult not having them next to us to teach them. So we did go through, we made a series of videos that showed how we do different things on our base plan and the installing of cameras and our setups.
Yep.
So that way they were able to visually see what their role was entailing, how they could do each activity that they were required to do. It also obviously had our excellent narrating skills so that we had the audio there for them to understand what was happening.
Yeah.
We also did put together a group of documents as well, our procedures, which we've had previously, which we had to update a little bit because after, as you said, not being in the same room with someone that's starting a new role, we really had to revise what was in that the procedures and process package that we have, just so it was a lot easier to follow along with our videos and the training that we had. So we did put that in place at the start of COVID, which we've found the new staff seem to have really taken to it well in their roles. They've been able to understand and really flourish in those roles from the information that we were given, that they were given, sorry.
Yeah.
The only thing that obviously we couldn't do, which we wish we could have, was more that hands-on training. So there were a lot of Teams meetings that I think you're both involved in a couple of as well.
Yeah.
But in regards to being able to have that hands-on, it was a bit trickier. We were trying to to do that over a webcam, which look, it was effective, but not as effective as we'd hoped. So let's just hope we don't have to go through the whole lockdown side again. But it has made us rethink our processes and procedures and the written forms that were provided. But we do also want to do a more regular hands-on training setup now. So even for our installers that have been working for the company for 8-10 years, we want to do even 6 monthly training where we're going out to site, we're all doing the same thing, but we're making sure we're all doing it in the right way and we're not cutting corners or learning new ways. And this way it allows us all to work out basically the best way. Is there a new way that we could do it? Is there a safer way? Are we wasting time doing certain things? So I think from COVID especially, we've been able to develop what we've been doing so that that will help. And I think especially with the cultural differences, I think changing what we have initially is going to help with that. But again, let's hope we can do more of the hands-on style of training. So,
definitely.
Excellent. And David, do you have any questions on that one at all?
Is this training something that's going to be rolled out nationally or just in our branch?
No, so initially we're going to roll it out as just through our branch to see how it works, to basically set a schedule, a yearly schedule of what we're going to implement, what training, what updating and refreshers basically that we're going to put in place. And then that's something we want to put to head office so that basically it's something that we can roll out nationally and they'll do across all of our different sites. So that's the plan, but we're going to kick it off and hopefully we'll get a really good result from that and we can roll that out nationally. So excellent. Okay. So I suppose the benefits of effective cross-cultural communication, as I mentioned before, being in the industry we're in, it is very cutthroat, but it also is very cultural dominant. As you know, a lot of our software comes from China, our hardware and everything coming from the UK and the US. So we do have a lot of people from these backgrounds that are working within the company. I feel the benefits from that, obviously we have different outlooks, different perspective, different ideas. So the more people that have different ideas, we're obviously going to be front runners in new creations, in our new systems that we're putting in place and that we have over the last few years. We've always seemed to do this quite well, but I feel that there can be some improvement. I feel that there's the culture within ATF needs to be increased a little bit where people feel more comfortable to put their ideas forward and to feel like they're being heard and that we're implementing more from people on the ground floor basically. So did you guys have any sort of ideas on the other benefits that we might achieve through this?
Well, you've really covered a lot in terms of everything. In terms of other ideas, I think, well, just with COVID, I think lots of webinars and team meetings like we've already been doing.
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah.
No worries at all. And David, do you have any ideas on that one?
I think it's a great initiative. I think you've covered most of it pretty well. Thanks.
No worries. Yeah, so basically, all right. That's good. Sorry to, again, chew your ear off on a Sunday, and I appreciate it. But just to go back over what I've been discussing. So cross-cultural communication within business is the understanding of different religions, cultures, sexual preferences and nationalities, and the way in which we work towards an understanding of communication strategies for each. The cross-cultural communication has become increasingly and strategically a key factor within businesses that have the diverse workforce and need to be managed accordingly. So, as I just mentioned, especially in our industry, that becomes quite heightened. The use of different communication and learning styles, so assisting in the understanding and effective delivery of information within an organisation. Having an understanding on one's own emotional intelligence greatly increases your ability to understand and communicate effectively with others to achieve a desired outcome. So that again comes down to the emotional intelligence training that we're looking to implement. So again, that was, I think we've discussed that's going to be something we want to run with new staff as well as an ongoing regimen of that, basically, so that we can be more self-aware of ourselves, not only others. So, and a business that promotes and encourages effective cross-cultural communication will highly benefit from preventing and resolving workplace conflicts, creating an improved work environment, increased innovation, and increased performance. And again, that results in increased profits, reduced attrition of staff as well. So would keep Rebecca a lot happier if she hasn't got people in her office all the time, and give her time for other things. So do we have any questions on that, guys?
Scott, just a quick questions in terms of the emotional intelligence education sessions and things like that.
Yes.
Do you think it would be better off for you and your colleagues, because I've met you just a few times with COVID and everything. Do you think it would be better off delivered in a group setting, face to face, you and the guys that you work with, or do you feel that a webinar or a team meeting would better suit everyone? What's your? Because I've only met you a few times.
No, that's fine. Look, I feel obviously face to face group environments are really beneficial. I think the webinars and the online things have been great, and they've helped us keep in touch during this period. But I really feel like that face to face, you're going to get a lot more out of it. People, instead of being a screen, they become a real life person. You can really get to know them and understand more about people doing it that way. So, and especially as you said, we haven't spent much time together. We haven't been able to meet up and do these training sessions. It becomes a lot easier, and we then become closer colleagues. We as we can put a face to the name now, but it's a lot different, I feel, and a lot more personable doing that in a group setting. So, but with those emotional intelligence courses as well, we do want to do a lot of one-on-one individual stuff. So taking people away from a group setting and really getting them to delve in and I suppose being a lot more comfortable in that situation rather than in a group setting, where they can really start to find out more about themselves and how they might be seen, and it's a bit less confronting for some of the parts of that. But so definitely a face-to-face type setup for that. So.
Well, I'll give you a call next week and we can look at our calendars and look at the calendar for the rest of the year and do some bookings if you like.
Perfect, that sounds good. No, really appreciate your help in that. And again, guys, thank you for logging on a Sunday. Really appreciate it. And thank you very much for your time.
No worries.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Scott. Bye.